Shock the System podcast. Guys, thank you so much again for tuning into another episode. Raul Ramos here, and today, grabe, our guest, grabe, sobrang, ano ba to, accomplished, no? And in the Philippine triathlon community, isa to sa mga OG, di ba? Kumbaga, when you talk about his accomplishments, he's been into running, trail running, triathlon, an accomplished competitive cyclist, tapos game fishing, and also a certified master scuba diver. Grabe. We will dig into that and dive into that. But guys, help me welcome our guest for this afternoon, none other than Al Gonzales. Yun! Woohoo! Coach Al,
Yeah.
first of all, thank you so much for doing this.
So thank you for having me on the show. It's actually it's an honor to be able to be here, and I'm looking forward to being able to share what I can, so that our listeners and the community will be able to learn from the
Yeah.
things that we've experienced in the past.
Let's dig right into it. Ano? Kasi nga, for the benefit of our viewers and listeners, normally we would give a little bit of a guide on our interview, on our podcast. Pero actually, wala naman talagang script. Kasi some of them would actually ask, ano, meron bang script? Meron bang ganito? But basically, it's just a guide for us to discuss. But when I got your profile, Coach, grabe. Sabi ko, yung klase pala si Coach Al Gonzales. And that's why I know now the reason why, people, even the celebrities actually come to you, for guidance, for what, I mean, if they do a majors, a marathon or even do triathlons, no? I understand now. Kasi nga, you've been into multisport since way back when, Coach. If you've shared this, no?
So I was basically in the latter part of college. So this is the late '90s when I got into triathlon, and it was because, believe it or not, I didn't know how to swim.
Really?
I was traumatized several times as a kid. So my dad loved fishing, and I'd be the one who fall off the boat and had those bad experiences with it. Now it was only in college that I saw people doing triathlon, and then parang I said, that looks so cool. I mean, nung time na yun, wala pa masyadong triathletes nun. Like, it's just a sport wherein it's not like it is today na everybody knows what a triathlete, what if you go to a store and you ask them, can I look for a triathlon suit? They'll be like, oh, ano yan? Diba? Parang, so I wanted to venture into it, but sabi ko, I can bike, I know how to bike, I can run, but I didn't know how to swim.
All right.
Right? So that was like, if I'm gonna invest in a bike, parang, and then hindi naman pala ako marunong mag-swim, wala na rin silbi yun, diba? So it was through a lot of different friends and coaches and what have you who guided me into doing it. And it nakakatawa kasi yung mga stories nila na, try mo to. We always have those friends with good intentions, and they want to share with us what worked for them. Unfortunately, sometimes what works for you might not work for me. So they're
True,
like trying
true.
to figure out, anong gagawin natin dito. But,
Yeah.
alam mo, try mo to. Tapos, pag hindi gumana yan, ito gawin mo. Saka, ano yan?
Ano yun?
Magdasal ka na. Di ba? Kasi kakarera ka, hindi ka pa marunong. Diba? Parang ganon.
Okay.
And yeah, so I did several races kind of haphazardly. So parang I just wanted to be able to get out of the water and then go into the bike, into the run. Till one day, I remember it's the Subit. It's the longest, running.
By trap.
Yeah, it's the longest running standard distance race in Asia. And I went in there. I was like first in the water because of my age group. Kasi parang bata pa ako noon eh. So parang U21, parang ganun yung rule nila. And then they'll put you in wave one. But I
Do you
came.
remember, Coach, 90s, late 90s to? When you
This
joined
was
Subit
2000
na?
na when I did
2000 na.
when I
Alright.
did Subit
Oo.
I did some other races, no, but Subit was this particular Subit. I remember kasi there was like a storm. It was crazy.
Okay.
And no time na yun, ang layo ng Subic. Alam mo yun, you go to
yeah.
Subic, hindi yan kagaya ngayon that you have the expressway. Ito yung parang you're gonna go off pa to
Yeah. To the
different.
main city.
Yeah, tapos ang
Oo.
tagal. So nandun na kaming lahat, itutuloy ba natin to? Parang,
Okay.
And
Who were your contemporaries then? Are they still racing now or wala na? Or
a lot of them aren't racing, so to speak, but are still
still
active
there?
in the
All right.
community. Like Coach Patrick Hawson was there.
Oh yeah.
Si Kay Lopez, di ba, si Coach Kay, although she's abroad na, di ba, yung mga, yun yung mga, they were the, parang, they would lead Subit. I mean, I go to
Yeah.
Subit, you get to see them, talagang,
Ito yung mga podyoneros
parang
nun.
pangarap ko yung maka aqua bleed na, ano yun, yung speedo na tri-suit nila, yung fast skin nila nung time na yun, na Philippine team and what have you. There's such an inspiration to be able to see them then. And, yeah, I remember I came out of the water parang second to the last. It was so bad na yung dad ko yinakap ako. Ano yun? Parang, anak, are you okay? Di ba? Parang, it's like, mamaya na, magbabike pa ako, mag-run pa ako. So it's like, after that, sermon ako. I said, I don't care. You're never going to do this sport without having formal lessons and learning, especially in swimming. I'm not going to lose a kid over this thing that you're doing. And then I'm like, sabi niya, I don't care how much it costs. Diba? Basta kailangan matuto. So I lived in Los Baños at that time because my dad was a diplomat for Erie. And what happened was I would travel to Manila. I was fortunate enough that there was a coach who was here at the time. Nung time na, ang hirap maghanap ng kagaya
yeah.
ngayon. Dali eh.
Oo.
But there was a coach from who trained abroad, and she was here. And I would travel like an hour and a half one way, so like 3 hours for an hour class. Wow. But I loved how swimming was presented to me in a different frame. So it was very systematic. And for a person who was as uncoordinated as I am, it made learning, because I'm very technical, I'm very analytical, but I'm not so coordinated. You get me to dance, it's a different story. Diba? So here, I was able to use your intellect to help you get these movements in. And then I realized that swimming doesn't have to be so hard pala.
All right.
Diba? Kasi if you know how to approach it properly, it'll be okay. In just a few months after that, I was invited to do, like, they had the first long distance triathlon here, and then
In that's in 2022.
2020,
Yeah.
yeah. So is that 2020?
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. 2002. Tama.
2000, yeah. The
2002.
old
Yeah, the
school
first
one. Yeah.
in Batangas.
Matubungkay.
Yeah, Matabangkay. Yeah.
So they were like, "Oh, you should try this." So imagine going from a 1.5 kilometer swim, which I barely survived, to doing a 3.8 where I enjoyed it. I remember the reaction of my dad. They were calling my name out. It's like, "Oh, here's our youngest participant, Al Gonzales, coming out of the water," and then the driver's telling my dad, Sir, si
Anong
Al."
age mo nun, coach? When you joined in
20s.
2002?
Oh, parang 22, 21.
Early 20s.
21,
Okay,
21.
21.
I
So
was
right
21.
after college to.
Yeah, right after college. So,
All right. Wow.
so my dad's like, hindi pa yan yun. Kahit mag-almusal pa tayo dito, hindi pa yan aahon. Kasi yung 1.5, ang tagal-tagal eh. Di ba?
Yeah.
And then, hindi sir, siya nga po. And then he was so happy. And I really felt, I was so happy coming out of that swim and then going into the bike, into the run na, alam yun na parang what for me was my Waterloo suddenly became a strength.
Yeah.
Diba? So I said, if someone like me had hope and was able to be able to do well, I'm sure there are a lot of people out there who could relate.
Yeah. And actually, I was surprised, coach. You telling us now na your Waterloo is swimming. Kasi right now, you're basically the go-to guy for swimming. I mean, open water, competitive swim, di ba? So, kumbaga, you worked on this from the beginning because you knew it was your weakness.
I think that also comes out as a strength in the sense that coming from a person who, like for me, I was not okay with the water. I was afraid of it. Diba? It's like there's some people, you throw them in the water, they'll be able to cross that. Ako, I would be the type that you throw me in there, I'd sink down to the bottom and see the light. Diba?
Don't follow the light.
Diba? Parang ganung level. So I felt that if I had that sense of, of being able to go from there to be able to swim and enjoy and race in so many different countries in triathlon and what have you, there were other people there. There are other people who would be able to relate to that. Diba? And
Yeah.
when I teach, it's not like, sometimes you have, people who've been swimming all their lives. And I know there's a technical term for that, that it
Oh.
becomes, they're so used to it that they forget about the basics. Kasi for them, it's basic eh. Parang, di
Yeah.
mo na isipin yun eh. Yung mag-float ka sa tubig, parang kailangan po ba turo yun? But for someone with, like for me, I had to learn that. I had to study, how do I learn to relax? How do I get to do this? And because of that, I get a bit of a bigger spectrum versus those people who never really experienced that feeling of it's scary to be in the water. Diba? They just go there, do laps ka na. Parang okay sila. Ito yung, that's why I handle a lot of athletes who started from, I have one guy, she calls it day zero. Kasi sabi niya, I wanted to do triathlon and I wanted to learn how to swim. And she's done an ultra marathon already.
All right.
She actually won Bataan Death March, that race. Crazy. She podium on that one, and she's an accomplished cyclist, but didn't know how to swim. Diba? So she came to my session, and
Zero swim.
she's not comfortable with the water.
Okay.
So I was there. I was already teaching. I had a previous class, and I saw her there already. So we're at
Yeah.
the country club, and I see her there. And then she comes. She says hi and all of that. And then when I'm done with the session, I can't see her anymore. I don't see her. Then she just messaged me, said, "Sorry, coach, I really can't do it today. Hindi
So
ko
may ano
kaya."
siya, medyo may
So kaya tawag niya
adamant
day
siya.
zero. Parang session na yon. We started already technically, but she didn't push through with it
Oh, wow.
because she was afraid. And I told her, I understand that completely. And I tell people everything in its proper time. It's so funny nga kasi you were mentioning earlier, we were talking
Yeah.
before the show
Yeah.
that you did Cebu
Yeah.
on that year where there was such that crazy current.
Oh, yeah.
That was her
Riptide.
first 70.3.
That was his,
Oh yeah,
her
goosebumps
first?
right now. Because
Really?
imagine a person who was afraid of the water
Oh,
to do 70.3. Sabi niya, pag-ahon ko nga, parang feeling ko nanalo na ako.
yeah.
Diba?
Yeah.
And she
I'd
did it
understand
at,
that.
she
Yeah,
did it
yeah,
at around, I think, an hour with the riptide. So imagine a
Yeah.
complete beginner who was afraid of the water, couldn't even get into the pool, eventually doing that in a few months. Diba? Parang iba yung ganong feeling. And then that for me is the satisfaction of me being able to pass on what I experienced to others in that sense as well. Diba? It's really parang priceless talaga. So it's more of a passion thing. That's why I got into
Yeah.
this whole coaching thing because I wanted to share that.
Yeah.
Diba? And ang daming ganong klaseng stories.
Yeah. Yeah.
Getting into the water and facing your fears to be able to be a triathlete. And that's why I love the community so much. And if we can and help it out, kasi and everybody has a different story getting into tri.
Yeah. Yeah. Coach, let's to your, kasi I know you've raised a lot. You mentioned nga rin kanina, di ba? You've raised a lot before. Maybe some of the stories or learnings when you were racing before that you have picked up and now you are applying it in your coaching. Ano yung mga ito?
Oh wow, that's
Mga top of your mind na, for example, especially you mentioned na yun nga, swim, a little bit of ano no, you try to learn it and you made it as your strength. Tapos ito na, meron kang mga races before na siguro top of your head, ano yung mga nakuha mo dito na right now you're still applying to each and every one of your athletes or your students? Yeah.
so every race that we do is very unique, you
Okay,
know.
yeah.
So and even the same race course at different years, but like Cebu, we were talking about Cebu again. There are years where in the swim was very hard to do. There are some years where it's parang sobrang calm and ano lang, di ba? So I like to be able to prepare the athlete for the race that they're doing and be very specific with it. So you don't train, let's say, a swimmer as so di ba, like when coach, pwede ba ako magpaturo sa'yo ng swimming, di ba? I ask them, what are your goals ba? Kasi if you're doing a triathlon, I will train you differently than a person who wants to be fast and join a swim team or a varsity team, or a person who wants to do a swim junkie race, for example,
Yeah.
diba? Or to do the Maricaban Island swim,
Straight, yeah.
or my Maricaban straight swim, or a person who just wants to do this for fitness. Diba? So different modalities. And in the same way that when we race, you have to do the due diligence to prepare for that particular race. So, for example,
Yeah.
I mentioned I was doing a lot of races in Europe for a time. And I remember there was this one race briefing in Austria where they said that
Ironman to coach.
yeah,
Ironman Austria.
70.3. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. This is
All
the
right.
year it was the Worlds.
All right.
I was there to support Chloe Jane Ong, if you know
Oh,
her. Yeah.
yeah.
So I invited her. Funny nung time na yun, I was registered for 3 races in Europe within a month. Di ba? So,
Within a month?
within a month.
Okay.
Medyo
And even ano
para
pa, ito yung world's tapos you
para sulit
supported.
yung biyahe. I
Yeah.
didn't do Austria
Makes
anymore,
sense,
but
yeah.
I remember during the race briefing there, they were saying this year we made it kind of interesting for you guys because we put in a little hill. Diba? Pagtingin ko, what's a hill? Diba? So, sa Pinoy, pag hill mo, medyo, siguro no valley, medyo uphill na yon. Pagtingin mo, 21% grade. So, parang, well, who does that? So, I mean, what's the point? It's very, very relative. Some people will be intimidated by Cebu and that current, right? But go to a race in Australia.
Oh, yeah.
Pagtatawanan lang nila yung waves na yan, yung current na yan. Wala yan. Patag sa kanila yan. Diba? So, the point is, it's really how you frame things and how you prepare it. Diba? How you prepare for it. So, iba yung, let's say, if you're doing a swim, wetsuit swims are completely different than warm swims. Your form and your technique may change as well. Because ang bigat ng wetsuit eh. Diba? If you try wearing a wetsuit, pag
True.
taas mo ganyan, iba na naman yung movement pattern mo. So, how we structure our program and our instruction really depends on what your goals are, what race you're trying to do, or if, like, I have a lot of athletes who.
And also the ability of the athlete.
Yes, of
Most
course,
like,
of
yes,
course.
yes.
And what, like, I have one, and I believe she's like the parang a 10-time Sea Games gold medalist, pero for billiards.
Okay,
Diba?
alright.
So, diba, yung mobility mo laging one-sided lang sa billiards.
Yeah.
So swimming provides you that rotation on the other side. So for them, it's a win already that they're able to bring out their mobility and things like that. No, that will help them get their goals. I have an 85-year-old who actually did open water with us already.
What?
Diba? So for
85-year-old.
so
The youngest coach that you coach is
well, before I used to handle like
Mga kids.
maybe 4, 7
Alright.
years old and what have you. Later on, I focus more towards the adults,
adult,
young
yeah.
adults, and or yung mga kids who were a bit traumatized with the water. Diba? Kasi that's my way of giving back na that kasi for iba rin kasi yung instruction ng bata eh. Diba? Parang a lot of that sometimes is more of you have to kind of motivate them to do or distract them to do what you want them to do versus, let's say, a triathlete who has a goal already and they're willing to listen to whatever you say.
Medyo may motivation na eh.
Oo, may ano na yan.
Yeah.
Itong bata, kailangan mo medyo uutuin mo minsan, di ba?
Saka may reward.
Yeah, so nandun pa
yeah.
yung ano. So ako, I love being able to help figure out, parang I tell athletes, like, I treat them like it's sort of like a Rubik's Cube.
Okay.
And training is like that as well.
Okay.
But sometimes in swimming, you're focused on one thing, tapos nasira yung kabila. Diba? Parang, I'm focusing on leaning in. Parang pumangit pala yung recovery ko. So I tell them, it's a process. There are sometimes you'll get a side, but you have to be willing to give that side up because you're building up on another one. Diba?
Okay.
Until eventually you get all of those sides and you start to see it come together. And then when you're able to solve that, ang sarap ng feeling. Diba? So our way of training. It's that road to unconscious competence. Hindi mo naiisip yung ginagawa mo. Alam mong tama na yung ginagawa mo. But in that process, there's a lot of in that journey to get that. There's a lot of fixing and breaking down. You'll have those good moments. Then you'll have to, oh, I have to focus on this. If you're working on speed, paano yung endurance mo?
Yeah.
Diba? If you're working on technique, sometimes you get so focused on working on the technique, nawawala yung flow.
All right.
Because you're thinking of what you're doing too much. Nasisira yung rhythm mo. Diba?
Mas mahirap ba, coach, na i-coach or i-guide yung mga late onset, mga adult na
Okay.
late onset swimmers
Okay.
na or yung mga medyo younger pero talagang zero din?
Actually, I
Or
prefer
the same ba? Oo.
I prefer people who've never had a concept of swimming. Kasi it's
Talagang
always,
talaga.
diba? Parang sabi nga, mas madaling magpagawa ng bahay from scratch then magpa-renovate ka na hindi mo alam kung saan nanggaling o ano yung aayusin mo.
Kumbaga mas mahaba yung...
Yes, the process is different. So I prefer it when they have no background in swimming because I can lay the proper fundamentals. When it's a person who's been swimming for quite some time, they tend to build up some bad habits along the way. Diba? Na even if you want to change that,
Yeah.
it takes some time to work on that. Changing that pattern alone takes a lot of time. Diba? Wala pa dun yung are they willing to accept that change in what they'll be doing.
Nako, coach, totoo yan. Ako, ganyan yan. Kasi my background also is swimming. Actually, I used to swim for college before. Pero what I knew before, I knew then is that, alam mo yung S?
Yeah. Oh,
Yan
yeah.
yan eh.
Yeah.
Before, di ba? What's the usual
Yeah.
college coaches actually has taught me before. Pero hindi na pala dapat ngayon. Parang, di ba parang the shorter or something like that. Can you explain that, coach? Yung
Oh yeah. So
Oo.
with anything, we're always in a constant. We're always learning different things, right? And as we improve, like with I was mentioning kanina about technology, ang lilit na ng mga cameras natin today. Panahon namin ang lalaki. So as we have access to these different things, also our knowledge also changes. Like
Alright.
ako when I like the simple as video analysis of a stroke. Diba? Now they even have a method to change to see what kind of force you're actually putting into your strokes.
True.
Diba? I mean, the technology now also for swimming, it's not as technical yet as let's say for cycling where you have your power meters and everything and all of these things, but it's catching up. And what I like about it is you can make parang nandiyan yung proof na does it work or not. Whether it's through they have those tests for ano yung drag mo while you're ano yung drag while you're swimming when you're wearing this suit or how much force you're applying by doing this. And it's a constantly changing thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember like I was being taught in one of the courses I did for rescue. They were teaching me about this. Pinapagalitan nila ako kasi pag nag-swim ka daw, dapat ganto. Close mo to para mas solid yung hawak mo sa water.
Oo nga. Yeah,
Diba?
yeah, yeah.
So that's another thing. So I tell them, okay, they didn't know I was there as a person, as a subject matter expert, but I wanted to, because that's how I operate. I want to experience how
Okay.
you will teach
Alright.
it, and then then later on we dissect about what was good and what was not. So I asked them, okay, bakit ito tinuro mo sa akin? Yan kasi tinuro sa akin ito. Sige, patawag mo. Oh, bakit ito yung tinuro? Yan po yung tinuro sa amin. Okay. O sige, patawag mo si ganyan. Bakit ito sinabi mo? Kasi may taga ganyan-ganyan pumunta dito. Ito yung tinuro sa amin. Okay. If you don't have basis and can't understand why this is what you should
You're
do.
doing.
Ang hirap. Diba? Kasi it's just about kung anong sinabi sa'yo, tanggapin mo na eh. We have science now. So I said, you can cite several studies. You can go online. Check what's the effect of this versus this and versus this. And then you can be the one to make the judge. You can to analyze. Ano ba? Dito nga, pero stiff naman yung kamay mo. Pag ganito ka naman, sobrang dumadaan na yung the water
Yeah.
goes through your hand. So there are different things that we learn. And over the years, you'll have to accept that things will change.
Totoo.
I remember in one of the workshops when they revised this swimming thing that we were teaching, binulungan ko sila na parang, alam mo ba kung ilang daang tao na yung kinorek ko dati na sinabi nyo dapat ganito? Tapos ngayon, binabalik natin to this type of position. Diba? Parang, diba?
What? Oo.
But you have to accept that the more that we learn things, then we have to know how to adapt to it. Diba? Wala namang perfect technique, perfect ano. This is just what we know at the moment.
At the moment.
For all you know, baka marami pa tayo matututunan sa
Yeah,
swimming
yeah.
na may mga technique dyan. Dati yun nga, a lot of people got so involved with this S-curve.
Correct.
And that was the end all be all. Tapos yung pala mali, di ba?
Ako nga, coach, meron din ako before na, well, I still do it now, yung 11 o'clock and 1 o'clock.
Okay.
Diba? I'm sure most of the swimmers will know this. Yung entry, does it help? Or even
So,
if you do,
Here's my experience in that. No? Sometimes what we perceive that we are doing is completely different from what we're actually doing.
okay.
Diba?
Yeah.
Sabihin sa'yo,
Unless you really see it, ano, pagka na-video ka na.
So, parang doon, kunyari, nasa pool ako, and then I'm telling a student, diba? And I tell them, put your hand here. Then the other person in the other lane is like, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Diba? Parang, bakit kanya? Because mentally, that client of mine will have to think that the hand is here for it to actually be aligned.
Okay.
So it's very personal. Diba? So kaya hirap din i-judge yung sabihin, ito narinig ko sa ganyan. Kasi you don't know in what context they were putting that in eh. Diba? Yung dapat sub-sub mo yung head mo. Kasi normally nakataas pala yung head niya. So if somebody else follows that, then nakaganon yung head nila ng gusto and they don't feel comfortable. Diba? So it's about, you have to put it in context to the person that you are applying it to. Diba?
Yeah. Currently, coach, ano ba yung mga biggest myth or kumbaga mistakes that swimmers actually do
Okay.
na will kumbaga will drag to their time or kumbaga relatively doesn't help them in swimming?
Okay, so this I get with a lot of beginners.
Okay.
And they tend to do a lot of excessive movements
Excessive movement.
na hindi naman kailangan gawin. Diba? You get a person who doesn't know how to swim. You make them try to cross the pool. What do? They flail their arms like crazy. They kick their legs like crazy. And then they run out of breath. And, kung makaabot sila ng end of the pool, good. If not, they'll stand up in the middle. Diba? And then you realize that you don't need to do so much effort to be able to cross the pool. The thing is, we're putting effort in the wrong places. We're putting, instead of being able, so I remember my mom would always tell me, pag alis ka ng bahay, patay, nasa bahay ka, lahat ng mga ilaw na hindi mo ginagamit, sigurado yung papatayin.
Okay.
So there are, how do we relate that to training? There are some parang movements and muscles that we don't need to do, that we tend to use thinking that it's going to help us go faster. And one of that is like sometimes people tend to kick a lot. Diba? They'll be over kicking and what have you. Or in their mind, they think, I need to increase my stroke rate so much. But they lose the essence of being able to catch the water and to move forward. And a good way to see that is, and anybody can do this, is go into the water, check your times, diba? As you do it on different effort levels. So do it at 70%. Ano yung time mo? 75%. Ano yung time mo? 80, 85, 90, 95, 100. And then look at your times.
Yeah.
We have a rule of diminishing returns. That eventually you put in more of something, then the returns become smaller until it diminishes to a point that it actually goes down.
Yeah.
So some people will go 90% and mas mabilis pa yung 80% nila. And I've seen that time and time again. So, but in their mind, hindi mo pwede i-argue na hindi niya binigay yung 90%. Diba? Kasi pagod na pagod sila. Hingal na hingal sila. But yung time nila, mas mabilis pa yung 80. So, what happens? They tend to, sometimes in their attempt to rush and to kick a lot, they will cut the stroke short. They'll enter too early. Mga ganun, nasisira yung form nila. Because what they're doing is they're essentially thinking that if I move my hands faster, I'll be faster in the water. So people think if I equate my movement of going fast, that will always equate to a faster time. But in reality, that doesn't happen, 'di ba? Sometimes, I mean, if you're an efficient swimmer already, yes, 'di ba? Mapipiga mo pa rin yung may 1 second gain ka, may marginal second gain ka pa makukuha doon.
Yeah.
But for a lot
Yeah.
of beginners, you'll see it crashes down. So they're doing 90%, mas mabilis pa yung nagre-relax lang sila. Because yung 90% nila, they're cutting their stroke in half and they're just flailing their arms. So sayang,
Yeah.
'di ba? Yeah, makikita mo na unlike like in running, pag mag-dig deep ka,
Uh-huh.
bigay mo, bibilis ka. Sa swimming, hindi ganun eh.
Efficiency,
Yeah,
ano? Yung
it's
stroke
if your
efficiency.
fundamentals are sound, then yes, kaya. But for a lot of the beginners, it's so hard because iba yung mindset eh. 'Di ba? Parang ang gusto lang natin, basta pag nag-kick ako, mabilis ako. Sometimes kahit yung kick nila mali eh. 'Di ba? You see how they're so dorsiflexed and what
Okay.
have you.
Yeah.
And that takes a lot of time to develop. So you want to meet them where they're at. 'Di ba? So sometimes yung very controversial, what's my race pace?
Okay.
Diba yung
Okay.
tinatanong, Coach, ano ba ang race pace ko? Diba? So we do a ramp test to find out what is the optimal pace for you.
Oh.
So
Yung ramp test, coach, yan ba yung mga CSS?
yeah, CSS is a good estimate for you to find out where you are in terms of what your fitness can hold for a 1.5 kilometer swim. If you're following the 400 and 200 na
Lalagay
CSS
natin
swim,
yan.
it's
Critical swim speed.
yeah, the critical swim speed. That's again in theory, but this one is essentially you're putting yourself at different efforts and you're getting the actual times.
That's a ramp test.
Parang I'll ramp you up and then see what the results are. I'll count how many strokes you're doing, what's your time, what's your pace at this certain level of effort.
So parang in running, coach, parang it's a field test.
It's a field test
More
of
or
sorts,
less.
yeah.
No,
And then
alright.
it's actual. It's actual now in terms of, well, syempre for that particular distance. And then what you'll notice is, yun nga, a lot of people, as they go up, like in my experience, mga people who go 90% and above, some of them will have very, very small marginal gains and a lot of them will have a drop in time. Diba? So is it worth that 1%, that 1 second gain, but you're going from 80 to all out? So like for triathletes, I say, look, if I told you, let's say you're doing 80% change of effort and you're going to 85%, and your gain will only be 1 minute or 2 minutes for a 40 minute swim for a 70.3, diba? Parang average age group, ganun.
Yeah.
If I told you to change 5% in terms of effort on the run for 40 minutes, mas malaki yung return. Diba? So it's about, diba, it's not swimming, biking, running, it's triathlon.
Yeah.
So we have to be able to set, like, as much as it would feel good na bilis ng athlete mo coming out of the water,
Yeah.
nobody wins on the swim.
Correct.
So dapat fresh sila, diba? So you have to find out what's that optimal level for them. Now, as they progress and they mature as an athlete, that gets higher and higher, diba? Parang kahit mag-90 sila, may gain pa rin, coach. Diba? So, yun ang kailangan natin.
Yeah. Coach, ako personally, ito, I wanna ask you this question kasi it also applies to other athletes that I know, even for example, triathletes or even open water swimmers. So, like for example, for me, no, I can't actually translate my time on the pool
Okay.
to my time in the open water. Kasi sometimes, for example, you see a Garmin workout, di ba? Na, oh, ano, bilis ko ah.
Wow, yeah, yeah.
147.
Yeah, yeah.
Di ba? Pero pagdating sa open water, even in the actual race, oh my goodness,
Yes.
207, 204.
Yes.
What happens? No, ano yung missing link?
This is
Misalignment.
this is a wonderful question because you get that a lot, and I think that's the holy grail of a lot of triathletes. But it's actually quite simple. Okay, it's how you understand that one,
Makinig kayo ah.
you're training in a static environment. So what does that mean? You're training in a 25-meter area or a 50-meter pool. Kung sa Vermosa kami, may magbabago ba sa distance yan? Wala. Diba? Yung area mo dito, sa Vermosa nga, may spoil ka dun eh. Kahit may nagsasplash sa kabila mo, hindi aabot sa lane mo. So you're measuring your time in something that's static. And then you're going to compare it with something that's dynamic. What do I mean by dynamic? When you're out in open water, there are no lane lines. You can't go brainless na basta mag-swim lang ako or else maliligaw ka. The other aspect of it is sighting. Diba? As we all know, ang hirap mag-sight. Pag nag-sight ka, babagal ka. So if you're
Yeah.
gonna use your premise of, I did my sprint, 130, 100 meters, ma-post nga to, di ba? Tapos pagtingin mo sa
Story.
karera mo, 2 minutes, but ganon?
Anyari.
You didn't take into account, let's say, getting used to the rhythm of sighting every six strokes. Diba? So if you have every six strokes, pumipreno ka. You don't take into the account that you have a wall to push off of.
Yeah.
Diba? I remember, funny nga, si Coach Annie, nakakatawa sa story. Parang, Coach, marunong na ako mag-tumble turn. Sabi niya, saan magagamitin yan? Diba? So it depends on what you're training for. And like ako, parang,
Sa buoy.
diba? It's nice to know, diba? But it depends on what you're training for. So the best thing to do is if you really wanted to find out what your pace in open water is and then how you're going to apply it to a race, go to open water and train there. Look for a fixed distance. Diba? There madami namang areas then that you can go to and then use that para your comparison is apples to apples. Kasi you're comparing Ace Water Spa na covered ka and then
Vermosa,
may
oo.
diba, na heated pa yung pool mo tapos punta ka ng let's say Lobo, doon ka mag open water. Diba? You do the VIP challenge there. But ang bagal ng times ko. Grabe naman current dun eh. Diba?
Yeah.
So even with that, no, it's a dynamic environment where so many things can go for you or against you.
Yeah.
Diba?
The external forces are much
So
higher.
you have to be able
Lot
to
more.
put a buffer to it.
Alright.
Diba? So hindi porket na nag 140 ako dito, ibig sabihin pag kumarera ako 140 ako dito. Diba? So
Dapat sa pool, mga 120 ka.
diba? Tapos hindi ka naman nagsasight sa pool eh. Kasi
Oo.
kung malihis ka man, tatama ka lang dito, babalik ka naman dyan.
Yeah.
Diba? So in open water, if you make a mistake and then you veer off course, that can cost you so much time. Diba? So the other way there is to put in your sighting. Diba? But that causes your hip to go down.
Correct.
You generate a little bit of drag. There's a little bit more load in terms of your pull, and that will slow you down eventually.
Yeah. Are there training or drills that you really recommend to mga swimmers
So
na
the thing with drills in terms of training, I treat it as medicine. Diba? What do I mean by that? I mean, we live in an age where you have access to so much information. Nung panahon namin, ang trabaho ng coach is to look for information to give to you, diba? To study and do that. Ngayon, ang trabaho namin bilang coach is to help you sort out that information. Kasi sobrang dami na. And sometimes you'll see that online. You have a lot of people who love to post content, but there's a little bit of a disconnect to what its purpose is. So you'll see, ito, ang daming, ito, gandang drills ito. And you see that in running. Diba? You'll see, diba? You'll see them do all these crazy drills and like, wow, that looks so nice. But is that actually what you need? And in swimming as well. So there are drills that, for example, if you do, might highlight a mistake that you're already doing. Diba? Versus supposedly helping you work on a weakness. So I say it's like it's like medicine because you have to make the drills appropriate to what's lacking or kung ano yung weakness mo. Diba? If it's so nice to go online and say, this looks nice,
Yeah.
this looks nice, I'll do all of this. Para kang may ubo tapos ininom mo isang bote ng gamot, diba? Parang alin yun
Hindi naman
doon?
kailangan.
Yeah, so
Yes,
it might actually be doing more harm than good sometimes. So some people will say, let's say, like kicking on your side, diba? For example. Yes, that will work. But if you're a person who tends to over rotate a lot, then that might actually exaggerate that. Baka hanapin mo lagi yung feeling ng ganun ka. Madaming mga drills dyan. So it's always best to, one, to actually see how you're swimming and then analyze, diba? And then we can prescribe kung ano yung drills na dapat mong
I
gawin.
see.
Pero wala kasi yung magic pill na, ito checklist natin, gawin natin ito lahat.
Yeah.
Diba? Kasi sometimes it might be doing more harm than good.
Yeah.
Or redundant lang siya. So sayang naman yung, especially for triathletes, diba? Your time is so very limited and people are juggling work and what have you. So, you want to make the most of the opportunities. And the drills you want is the ones that will actually help you.
Yeah. Coach, I see that you're a data guy, no? You're looking into a lot of the numbers also. What do you think now of yung mga goggles na nandun yung mga data?
Yeah.
And do you have also mga athletes also do that?
Oh, yeah,
Also
yeah.
students that?
So I love data, and the thing with data rin kasi is sometimes there's that analysis paralysis type of thing. Okay, so sometimes it can be good for you, and sometimes it can be very limiting. So I have some clients pagka turn nila ng 50, magsisilip ng watch yan, di ba? Titingin ano yung time ko, and it kind of destroys your flow. Diba?
Yeah.
It's good to have the data there. I tell people nga sometimes, bawal tumingin ng relo. Diba? I cover it. For some people, I take it out. But essentially, I make them wear it and we can get the data after. Because sometimes it gets into the way of, it makes you feel, taas ng heart rate ko or agad na to. And then you feel limited with it.
True.
Diba? So I believe in racing by feel. And as much as it's nice to be able to also put paces, and it's nice to know that kind of, parang with our power and what have you, you also have to understand that circumstances also change day by day. Diba? So kahit na you're capable of pushing this, and this in theory is your zone 3 or zone 4, and you can hit this pace and I can prescribe that pace to you, napuyat ka naman kagabi kasi yung anak mo na ganito or 99 or 99 sale ng diba, ng Lazada.
Dami kang in-add to cart.
Oo, diba? Nag-add to cart ka, napuyat ka. You won't be able to come out with that. And that's why I like also being in the pool with the athletes and seeing them swim, because we can adjust on the fly. If they feel bad that day, kasi pagod, or I normally tell them we keep our warm-ups the same.
Okay.
So it acts sort of like a canary in the coal mine. I make them swim for a lot of the athletes 400 meters, for some 500 meters. So why like that? Para I know more or less yung 400 meters mo, baka 9 minutes lang yan. So on a day, you come there and then I say, bakit 10 minutes to? Anong ginawa mo? Coach, kasi may break ako kagabi, siningit ko. Diba? So alam mo nang, teka lang, this will have to change a few things. Or yun nga, baka napuyat or what have you. And then the other aspect of it naman is, if you see yourself going to a race and they show, and you see the buoys for the first time, diba, yung parang 300 meters out, parang ang layo ng buoy na yun. Mentally, you have an advantage to say, 400 meters, warm-up ko, 300 lang yan eh. Diba? So it kind of gives you that semblance of...
Yeah, I like that.
Diba?
Yeah.
So it gives you that confidence ng konti.
Yeah.
Diba?
At yung perspective,
Yes.
yun yung change.
Yeah. Diba? So you have a little bit of an edge. Kasi nandun ka medyo sisindakan layo ng buoy na yun. Ano ba, ba't ako nag-register dito?
Yeah.
Diba? So there, I tell them, take it. The first turn is usually 350, 400 meters. So I tell them, it's perfect. That's your warm-up. Go for your build and go for your race pace or what have you. But mentally, nandun na yung alam ko na 400 meters, wala, warm-up ko lang yan.
Correct. Yeah. Coach, you also coach and handle elite triathletes. I know for a fact you coach.
Yeah, I've been able to work with, so I don't handle them per se na ako lang. It's always a team.
Specifics, for example, I think the swim part na alam niya, kasi, he has to work on the swim, especially preparing for this race. Yun, nakita ko talagang you handle this elite athletes. The application, coach, is different, definitely.
Yeah. So it's, the reason why, so I'm actually trained for swimming, biking, and running. And the reason why I chose to focus on the swim, it's very close to my heart. And there's so much technicality to it.
Yeah.
Diba? So sometimes if you really want to Diba? Just doing the video analysis of an individual. I mean, ang hirap minsan kunin, like I had an athlete na parang, how do you shave 2 seconds off of his time?
Whew.
Parang,
Oo.
it sounds like madali lang 2 seconds, but at what we're doing, at the volume that he's been taking, and he's working under a different coach as well, and it's so, parang ako yung napupuyat para lang dun sa 2 seconds. Paano, saan mo kukunin yun? Diba? But that's the thing about swimming, and it's about also that those repetition, and you want to be able to find out saan ba may failure ba, diba? And then when you add up all these little marginal gains, then you see, oh, dito lalabas yan. But there's so much to it.
Correct.
Diba? Nutrition, nandyan yung sleep, nandun yung psychology.
Yeah.
So I'm a small cog in a big machine, so to speak. Diba? Kasi ako medyo OC ako
Yeah.
with form and technique and what have you. And I have an eye of spotting that. Diba? But it all has to come together. Diba? So even, let's say, even though I work with athletes who are enrolled with other triathlon coaches, I sometimes coordinate with the coaches. Coach, ano bang gagawin natin dito? Kailangan niya mag-improve sa bike or sa ganito. Diba? Maybe we can, what can we do to improve this? So you coordinate with them because everything's interrelated.
Collaboration
diba?
talaga.
Oo, kailangan talaga.
Coach, kasi you mentioned you've been to coaching, swim, bike, and run, multisport. How long have you been doing coaching? When it, how long na ikaw naging coach?
My first certification was, I think, in 2002, if I'm not mistaken, or 2003.
Oh, right.
So,
Tagal na, coach. Galing, ha?
yeah, it's nakakatawa. It's the story behind that was my dad said, for your graduation gift, I'll sponsor your race to do Ironman Australia. Diba? This was again like
Is that the coach?
2000.
Australia in Perth?
Don't time I forgot. I don't know if that was Imwa or ano. But he basically said, I'll let you do a full. Kasi it's funny, and the first one, the long distance one I did, I remember he was in the starting line and he saw a familiar friend. Oh, you're here pala. Oh yeah, my son's doing this also. I gave him 1 month off of work to prepare for this race. And his friends like, are you kidding me? Diba? No. Really, 1 whole month. You didn't have to work just to prepare for this. It's like, Leo, no, it takes so much longer to prepare for this. So anyway, he wanted to kind of make amends and said, okay, I'll sponsor you to do Ironman Australia. What's the closest Ironman you can do? I go, Australia. Okay, that's your grad gift. So ko naman, sabi ko, can I convert it to cash? Diba? Sabi ko, sabi niya, ano naman itong anong kalokohan yan? Bakit yan? No, don't get me wrong. I said, I saved up a little bit of money and I'd like to go back to the States. So I kind of grew up in Virginia. I mentioned earlier that my dad was a diplomat, so he traveled all around. So I said, look, if I do that race in Australia, sure, I'll come home with the medal. I'll have the whole experience and I'll be grateful for it. But if I go back to the States and I work on certification, then I will learn something new and maybe even have a career in it in the future and work and regain that. And it's going to be the gift that keeps on giving. Di ba? Parang ganun pa yung ano. Sabi niya, sige.
Nabudol mo yung ano mo
sabi
dito.
niya, sige, basta after 2 years, you work for me na. I'll let you do whatever you want for 2 years. So it's like that Little Mermaid moment where you're signing over something like, okay, I'll do this so I can that. And then I went to New York. I did training under Total Immersion under the founder, si Terry Laughlin. And basically, good times, noong time na yun, wala pang Viber.
Yeah.
Tanda ko yun, ang hirap pa nga na may cellphone na may tri-band pa yung kailangan mo.
Siguro, printed pa yung mga modules ninyo.
Yeah, everything
na
was...
nandyan yung ano.
Kaya hanggang ngayon, medyo hard copy pa rin ako eh. I like printing out their nakatawa, parang si Mamits, ang tawag namin, yung mahiwagang notebook.
Si Chang, ha? Okay.
Oo, pag nakita mo, Mamits, pakita nga ng mapakita niya yung kanyang mahiwagang notebook, di ba? Nandun yung times niya for that. And yeah, when I went there, basically what I had to do was cram all of these parang internships and what have you in such a what normally takes a long time to a small time kasi magastos sa US eh, di ba? Kasi mo graduate ako tapos isipin ko yung kinakain ko doon. Pag inuwi ko to, buffet to. Pero doon,
Yeah.
pizza lang. Di ba?
Wow.
So, I would literally, parang I would map out how I would go to my classes and then I'd pass by through all of the Krispy Kremes.
Okay.
Kasi libre eh. Di ba? So, pag mainit, di ba, they have that light, oh, get that, tago ko, may baon na ako. So it was good times, but it allowed me to grow a lot in terms of, parang, is this something that I want to
Yung
pursue?
talagang ginol mo
Oh,
talaga.
kasi I mean, I was groomed to be an economist, diba? To follow in the footsteps, and that's why after that I worked for the company for the longest period of time and did a lot of studies internationally. But my getting that certification in that early part of my life, my first time to travel abroad alone, diba?
Live
Parang,
alone.
oh, live alone.
Alright.
Basically, you're renting lang or alam mo yun, parang nagta-travel ka doon,
Yeah.
you don't know what to expect. And New York can be a very cold or a very warm
Lonely.
city. Oh, di ba? Parang paglabas mo, parang feeling ko Sex and the City naririnig ko music. Pero pag uwi ko doon, homesick na homesick
Ikaw
ako.
lang.
Alam mo yun,
How
tinitipid ko yung.
long, Coach?
That was for several months. But
Alright.
I did workshops from New York all the way from East Coast to West Coast. So hanggang Oregon, I was there. I did workshops for that. I would do, pinapatulan ko yung, kasi we have weekend workshops that we normally do for format and like that. And then we do parang week-long workshops that we would do for athletes. And the thing is, being exposed to other coaches from different countries allowed me to learn so much.
Yeah.
Diba? It reframed things. And I felt na being
Different
able...
experiences. Ano? Laki nung ano, no?
Sobra,
Yeah.
sobra. And even just cultural, diba? Parang sa culture medyo iba din eh. Depending on what, so I've been fortunate enough to do a lot of workshops around the world, and every place medyo iba yung ano nila. Hong Kong is different from Singapore. Singapore's different from Austria. From the US, in New York will be different from Oregon. Iba yung vibe nung tao, diba? So like New York is very diba, parang
Yeah.
these are
Mabilis.
executives and you can't waste their time.
Yeah.
Diba? So they pay well, but you have to be
Get to the point.
oh, ito na yun, diba? So that is what started me into coaching. Diba? Kasi a lot of people tend to go into coaching out of passion, but I still believe in putting proper structure to it. Diba? I mean, it doesn't hurt. You want to be a running coach? Go for certification in running. Why? Because you can learn so much from getting that from it's a structure, it's a standard that you follow. They will test you on that. I remember si Coach Lafferty. I don't know kung naabutan
Jim
mo.
Lafferty. Yeah.
So
The founder of TBR.
he had a coaching certification. He said, if you get this one answer wrong, you fail automatically.
Wow.
Diba? So dami. There's so much that you can learn by pursuing this. And sometimes kasi, as much as we'd like to share what we have, intention isn't enough. Diba? Kasi gusto kong tumulong, hindi ko pala naaral tong structure na to, na essential pala para makatulong ko ng ibang tao.
Yeah.
Diba? So I was fortunate enough that even at an early stage of being an athlete, I was exposed to different coaches and to the different systems of coaching. Diba? Kasi iba-ibang country, iba din yung diskarte nila doon. And then you realize na how little pala you know. Diba? Kasi there's always something to learn. There's something different. And it's a matter of keeping an eye out for those gems that you can pick up along the way.
And I think, Coach, no? Coaching, I think, it's not just communicating. Ako kasi, Coach, I see you that you're a good communicator. But also, you have to be a good listener. No? Kasi syempre, you mentioned earlier, nakita mo yung estudyante or the people that you guide, no? and you have to talk to them eh.
Yeah.
I think yun yung nakita ko with your style of coaching. You're in the water. Most likely you're also there with them running, di ba? Right? And also, I saw also one session na you're on the ano no when you do video analysis,
Yeah.
no?
Actually,
Palaging ganun.
even on their regular swims, I have several communicators with them. Nakatawa nga, like in Vermosa, they may be like 4 or 5 of them doing a paceline drill. Then I'll have them on the radio and tell
Okay.
them, okay, this is too slow. I'll tell the lead, pick it up, pick it up. And then I'll tell the person in the middle, okay, overtake mo na, take
So
the turn.
nag-draft silang ganyan?
So,
Talaga?
they know their paces.
Okay.
Sabi nga nung isa, parang ano eh, feeling niya parang F1. Di ba? You have DRS, okay, attack, di ba? Parang, oh, that was a good one, guys. Thank you so much. Parang ganun yung feeling niya. Because, and some of them will say, Coach, hanggang sa karera, naririnig ko yung boses mo. Di ba? And yeah, the thing is, as much as like, as much as we're here to teach, I actually learn so much more from my clients
them.
just by listening. Diba? From one is from what kind of programming they have, they need, or what will, or what their challenges are. I tell them, actually, yung racing, madali lang yun kasi isang araw lang yun eh. Yung mahirap is the day-to-day stuff. Diba? Yung, oh, may problema ako, coach, kasi nawala kami ng driver, ako namang hatid sa anak ko. So, and then also, I've been fortunate enough to be able to work with athletes from different, who are experts in their different fields. Whether it's like strength and conditioning or billiards or what have you. And then when they share their experiences to me, parang I feel I have a shortcut into their world because I have someone who's diba, they spent so many years studying that, and then they're sharing it to me, and I learned that as well. Diba? So it's I learn more from my athletes than they do from me. I would like to
Give and
think of
take.
that kasi ang dami nila eh. So parang ang sarap na ito yung perspective na matututunan mo. Ito, dito naman. Diba?
Yeah.
Whether lawyer man yan, architect, or what have you. And that's the beautiful part about triathlon. Diba? Iba-iba tayong background.
Yeah,
Diba?
yeah.
Parang, and for whatever reason, we're brought into racing together. And then, when we get to share it, it's a different feeling altogether. So that
Galing.
listening to them,
Yeah.
I learn so much more.
Yeah.
Diba?
Coaching may art eh, no? Talagang merong, di ba?
I would say it's a science and an art.
Science, yeah.
Diba?
Yeah.
It's a science and an
You
art.
put the structure in it eh.
Oo.
Oh, yeah, what you said, yeah.
I remember there was some, I think it was Jackie Slack and Ben Allen. They were here before, and they were parang Xterra world champions. So I asked her, you have access to any coach you want in the world now. 'Cause you're top of your game, diba? What made you choose the coach that you have? So parang, diba, parang, oh, you're putting me on the spot, ah. So sabi niya, because my coach is the one who knows what to tell me or what to do to get me out of bed and to do workouts, diba? To do what I need to do, diba? And he might not be the most parang scientific person or what have you, but he'll get me to he knows how to motivate me. He knows how I work. Diba? So, yun yung importante doon.
Yeah.
Kasi diba marami dyan na valedictorian sa UP or ang galing sa academics. Pag pinagturo mo, wala nakikinig kasi hindi nila maintindihan. Blackboard yung kausap. Diba?
Yeah.
So, it's a different also.
Yeah.
There's an art to it.
Actually, yun nga ako papunta, coach, kasi ako naman yung background ko was swimming and then basketball. Diba? You see that, diba, na magaling na basketball player or magaling na athlete.
Yeah.
Pero pagdating sa coaching, or suddenly decides to be a coach, pero hindi niya ma-communicate yung, or hindi niya siyempre ma-transfer yung galing niya as a player to be a
Yes.
coach, diba? Yeah.
I think it's again, it's apples and oranges, diba? Are you being graded as an athlete or diba? Or as a person who can teach? Magkaibang skill set 'yun eh. Diba? Baka marunong ka nga mag-layup pero hindi mo naman paano explain kung paano mo ginawa 'yon. Ibang story 'yun, diba? Magsa-sidestep ka tapos ganito, diba? Kasi sa'yo baka natural 'yon. So you have to understand the perspective of the person that you're trying to teach.
Yeah.
Na baka dribble pa nga lang, hindi marunong eh. Diba? So you
Hindi
have
ka
to be...
nag-basketball, coach? Ang takad mo
I
eh.
did. I
You
played...
also did.
I played in UP
Alright.
before. But natatawa ako kasi nung time na yun, I was doing triathlon already. So kahit na I only played because I was tall. So I wasn't the best in terms of... but sabi ko, ako yung pinakamasipag because I could go back and forth.
You have the endurance.
Oo, di ba?
Oh, yeah.
Ako lang yung sentro na nagpa-fast break tapos na nun ulit nagde-depensa, di ba? Kasi parang, training intervals. Parang ganun yung mindset ko.
Yeah.
But yeah, good times.
Yeah. Coach, let's talk about running now.
Okay.
Kasi nga, you've coached some, kumbaga, I mean, known celebrities, di ba, into running. And even swimming, di ba? Pero, yung, paano mo na transition? Paano mo na apply din into running? Kasi nga, ngayon, nagbo-boom na yung running. Grabe, no? Every weekend.
Oh, yeah.
May mga race.
Yeah.
And you've handled, siyempre, celebrities, even mga athletes mo na who are, siguro, your regular runners or your athletes. How do you treat them or apply to them is it the same also, the application? Or ano?
Like, how do I train them? What's
Train
different?
them?
Well,
Oo.
ako kasi, what I value really is the trust and the time that an individual gives me. Regardless of your profile, whether you're a celebrity or you're a first-timer now.
Lahat sila pare-pareho.
Lahat
Pantas yan.
kayo nandito sa taas. Bakit? Because you're giving me something that you'll never get back, which is your time. You've trusted me enough for me to lead you and guide you.
Correct.
Diba? Ngayon, syempre, medyo mahirap na kapag celebrity kasi maraming mata na titingin doon.
Yeah.
But, and they will see the results, but they won't see the journey. And that's what I love about my individual athletes. They all have different journeys. Diba? So, baka sabihin, bagal naman nun. Alam mo ba, yung pinagdaanan ng tao niyan to show up on that day.
Yeah.
Diba? So, and that's something that I value and I put, and that's what I love about coaching na parang nandun yung tiwala sa'yo na yung oras ko na hindi ko na mababalik. Yung pera, pwede natin kitain eh. Yung oras, never na eh. So I always treat them to make sure that I prepare them and meet them where they're at. Diba? So kung nasaan sila, kung beginner man yan, we apply it as a beginner. Diba? Or kung mas advanced yan, then diba, iba din yung gagawin natin.
Recently, you coached Joyce Pring eh. Diba?
Well, I handled her for swimming and triathlon before.
Really?
Yung running niya, so may ano kami nun eh.
Ano yung na-join na coach na majors, na world majors?
I did. Ako recently was Tokyo.
You did take Tokyo, diba?
Oo,
yeah.
Tokyo. Sa kanya naman, she wanted to do TBR.
She did, right?
She did TBR. So ako yung nag-pace sa kanya sa TBR. She's under Coach Ige, a good friend. Diba?
Oh, yeah.
Si Coach Ige yung Coach Ige made me do it. Linoloko ko nga eh. Pati ako napatakbo. So Coach Ige, di ba? Parang you made
Coach
me do.
Ige, you're next.
Ako yung napatakbo eh dahil sa kanya eh. Kasi sasabayan ko yung isa eh. So funny. It's it's a wonderful journey, especially with the marathon. And I actually was able to do one again earlier this year, which was by chance. Actually, it's an accident. It was parang ang nangyari
You did the marathon by chance?
No, what happened was kasi a lot of my athletes wanted to do Tokyo.
Yeah.
Diba? So lahat sila parang nagbubudulan na mag-sign up tayo, lahat
lottery
tayo.
or the
lahat
tour.
kami nag-sign up. And I had like about 150 of them and they're like, okay, we signed up for Tokyo. I said, sige, pati ako mag-sign up for Tokyo.
Okay.
And I have no condition to, right? I mean, I gained a lot of weight during the pandemic. It's been an up and down with personal life. Everything from my mom being hospitalized several times, then losing my dad last year.
Oh.
But, sabi ko, just for being able to be one with the support with the clients. Sabi ko, sige, lahat tayo, sign up. Tapos, let fate decide. Tapos nakakatawa kasi when the results came out, yung group chat namin ang gugulo. Ano ba yan? Japan, ang harsh mo. Ang harsh. You've been rejected. Tapos sabi ko, buti nga kayo, rin-replyan ako, walang email eh. Tapos sabi, Coach, why don't you look online? There's a portal, you check there. So I checked it, pagtingin ko, you've been accepted. Diba, parang, teka lang, parang hindi nga ako maka 5K ngayon, magpo 42 ako, diba? And then, So I told them, okay, ito ba yun? Oh my God, coach! Alam mo yun? So lahat
Congrats.
sila parang,
Yeah.
you have to do that.
Swerte mo.
Oh, sabi ko, wala naman sa inyo gagawa nito. Ba't ka pa pupunta dun? I mean, why will I spend money to go abroad? I spent so much in the
For
hospital.
pain.
Oh, and then just to do a 42, matanda na ako. Di ba? Parang at that point yet, I'm not prepared. I have to admit, I wasn't as prepared as I should be. And, but sabi nila, coach, sabi nga nung isa, yung parang, we'll go there for you. Diba?
Oh, nice.
So
All
like,
right.
parang akala ko yung mga, parang, alam mo, Pinoy, kain tayo.
Yeah.
And then I remember one having a conversation with me and saying, you've done so much for us. Let us do something for you. And we're here to support you for this race. So I had a bunch of them fly out to Japan just to support me. And I'm forever grateful for you guys. Love it.
Awesome.
They were there. They helped me prepare as well, making sure I do the long runs and what have you. And that's the community we have. So how amazing is that, diba? And to be able to share it with others as well. So I was telling people, like kagaya nun, I was like, oh, you do the research as we were talking about racing kanina. Ito, sabi ko, malamig yung Tokyo. Sabi nila mga 7 degrees, single digit. So ako naman, this was mga bandang November na when it kind of sank in that I have a marathon to do.
Feb or March, diba?
March
first
siya,
week.
oo.
Yeah.
Pero mga in denial pa ako hanggang mga November eh. Parang hindi naman matutuloy yan, hindi naman pupunta yung mga yan eh. Hanggang nagpakita sila, Coach, kailan
Ticket.
tayo mag-book ko? Grabe. And then, then another client suggested I do Taiwan.
Okay.
Para I
Yeah.
can prepare for the cold. And
December yan eh.
This
Coach,
was
diba?
December,
Yeah.
December 17, something like that.
Yeah.
Parang first week of a second week, and I found myself there in a different country, totally unprepared, freezing because I felt it was so cold, and like hoping I don't get cut off. Like for the first time in my life, I was so afraid of getting cut off for a 21 because I wasn't so prepared. Dati, pag mag-21 tayo sa MOA, sub 2, walang problema yan. Diba? Parang may mga Run United, Run United. Diba? Pag takbo, diba? Pakitaan ng Garmin yan. Tapos ito, parang, sana hindi ako maabutan ng bus. Diba? And that's the beauty of it. You have such a good community.
You support. Yeah.
That I would have not been able to do for them.
Nice.
And I think that's also the responsibility namin as coaches, diba? To make sure to guide people correctly as well. Diba? Kasi marami dyan yung sabi, I did this without training, I did this without, but you could have done so much better had you prepared for it properly. Diba? So,
yeah. And you mentioned na you've been speakers for TBR, right? And also for diba?
Yeah.
Oo.
Oh, that's sabi nga nila, it's one of the most attended, nagiging hindi bull session, bull circle. Hindi siya bull circle, nagiging boodle session. Kasi ako yung nagbibigay ng visa sa kanila ko anong bibilhin. No, I mean, I tell them I made a lot of mistakes in my career, and one of it is like going into that long distance triathlon, that full distance. No, I was asking around, and then sa mga runners natin yan, I was asking ano ba yung best shoe na gamitin.
Okay.
Diba? So people are saying, itong brand na to, itong model na to. And like I said, nung time na yun, ang hirap maghanap ng gamit. Diba? It's not like today you go to, you can choose the colorway. It's how spoiled we are these days. But nung time na yun, I was looking for this particular shoe and that model. And then they didn't have it. Well, they eventually found someone who had it, but it was 2 sizes smaller.
Oh, wow.
Diba? So ako si Genius. That's the best running shoe. Yan ang gagamitin ko para sa full.
Okay.
Diba? So I bought that. And then parang ayoko madumihan.
Okay.
So sabi ko, gagamitin ko na lang siya on the day of the race. Kita mo na yung madaming mali, di ba? Parang wrong shoe size, hindi na break-in. So may nagbulong pa sa akin, bago yan, dapat i-break-in mo yan.
Yeah.
Ako, paano ko gagawin? Bukas na yung karera. Magsuot ka ng makapal na medyas. Di ba? Ako, talaga? Sige. Siyempre, taga-UP ako. So, hindi lang isang medyas. 2 medyas sinuot ko para mas ma-break-in. So, eve of a full distance try, I was sleeping in two size on a shoe that's just two sizes smaller with double socks. Natutulog
Oh
ako.
no.
Hopefully that it will break in properly. I mean, that was how much I didn't know at that time. And that's why like with TBR, I tell them, this is why I want to share this so that you don't make the same mistakes. Diba? And you don't make the mistakes that we made during our time. And para when you get into running, as mas smooth siya. And what I love about TBR, I tell them it's not just an event, it's they prepare you properly, and they
Yeah.
get so many really good speakers, coaches, and what have you to guide you. And the community again is
Yeah.
so much different. The alumni come to help.
Ay, nako.
Diba?
Grabe.
Pag pumunta ka dyan, buffet, di ba?
Yeah.
So, ano gusto mo? M&M's, di ba? So, lahat ng gusto mo may cooler doon. Because they also know how it feels to be going through that, and they want to give back. Diba? So, that's the kind of community that we want to encourage and build. Diba? And, yun nga, like you said, there's such a big boom now in
Running.
running.
Oo.
Diba? But, kailangan...
Running clubs everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
And running coaches everywhere also.
There's sometimes there's a bit of controversy with that also.
Okay.
Diba?
Actually, I want to pick up your thoughts on that. Kasi, siyempre, you've done the workshops, hands-on. You went to the US. You've done your certification. And then you have coaches now who does online coaching. And then they're handling groups. What are your yung take mo dyan, coach?
Well, again, it depends on how your athletes respond.
Okay.
Diba? I know I like my coach for Tokyo was abroad. Diba? He was based in Qatar, I think. But we get to talk regularly. Coach Sol, thank you ulit.
Sol
Sol's
Sibayan.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Because
Wow.
he's as geeky as me and
Ay,
so
nako.
technical.
Sports
Diba?
scientist yan eh.
Diba? So I
Oo.
love it, and I trust them, and going into that. So even if malayo kami, nagkakaintindihan kami. Diba? So whether it's online or physical, as long as you're able to understand the needs of the client and be able to, to like I was telling him nga, coach, wala ka muna ipoprogram kasi hindi pa ako nakakatakbo. This week, hindi talaga kaya. Diba? O magre-remind yan, coach, medyo kulang tayo mileage. Diba?
Yeah.
And then, babawi ako ng ganito. Parang, so, that's the thing. But the other part here is you have to understand the responsibility as a coach, because you are leading a person. Diba? You're directing their life. Diba? An aspect of their life. So, you have to be very careful with what you're doing, because you don't also want them to end up injured or not being able to pursue this. I tell them, look, I've been doing triathlon for a long period of time, and I've seen a lot of people come and go because sometimes they go too hard too soon, diba? Or some get impatient, diba? So, and sometimes naman parang you'll see na nakakahinayang, kunyari, he's so into it, and then after a year, for sale bike, di ba? Parang
yeah,
ganun
yeah.
makikita mo na I tell, like this morning I was telling my other client na how great is it to have a 5150. It can be your best friend. Diba? And what do I mean by best friend? Ibig sabihin, it's nice to have the fitness level to run 10K, bike 40, to do 1.5. So kung kailangan mo ng friend to shoulder to lean on, pwedeng gawin mo easy. Kung gusto mo medyo kailangan sampalin ka to get back in, subukan mo upakan yung 5150. Diba? Hirap pala nito.
Oo, shock the system din yun.
Yeah,
eh.
exactly.
Oo,
Diba? So it's a good way to be able to that. Now, again, different coaching principles and methodologies are out there. You have to see the one that aligns with your values as well. Diba? Your values and your principles. And then also what works. Kasi baka maganda nga yung program niya, hindi ka naman nakaka-attend. Kasi malayo or busy ka nung time na yun. So, diba, parang you have to see what will, and you have to see kung sino mag-a-adjust kanino. Diba? I say we always have, as coaches, we have to understand where the clients are coming from.
Yeah.
Diba? Kasi you want them to do well, pero Kagaya, may taping pala si ganyan, may ganito, napuyat yan kasi lock in for 3-4 days, then you've lost the training block already. So hahabulin mo yun na, 'di ba? What can we do for damage control to save this save this training block? And you have to manage expectations. The other part lang here is also na there was this, I forgot who posted that, medyo naging viral, 'di ba? Na hindi ka coach, parang something like that, no?
Okay.
There was someone who posted I forgot na the name at the top of
Ah,
my
yeah,
head.
yeah.
But
Oo.
essentially, yeah, you have to understand that it's a big responsibility. So for those people, I always encourage them to study and learn. 'Di ba? Kasi wala namang perfect, wala namang best na ganito. But also invest in the time to, if you really love your craft, to study it.
Yeah.
You love running, sure, you're a fast runner and all of that. 'Di ba? Take the time to study it. And
Yeah.
then match it also with certification.
Correct.
'Di ba? Kasi
Yeah.
wala namang mawawala sa iyo if you try that. But you can learn so much.
Learn the craft, master the
Yeah,
craft.
and then you can pass it to so much to
Yeah.
other people.
Yeah.
'Di ba? So, yun nga, we're building such a big community with running. I tell my students also yung may rule kami, yung nagbubudol kasi kami ng magkakarera, 'di ba? But I tell them, budol responsibly. 'Di ba? Kasi kung mambubudol ka ng tao, dapat yung within their means na kaya nilang gawin yung karera na yun. Ngayon, the other part there is, pina-sign up mo yung tao, supportahan mo yung tao. 'Di ba? Pina-TBR mo, ikaw mag-pacer, 'di ba? 'Di ba? So
Ano, coach?
'di ba? So it's
Totoo yan.
that's a good way to be able to encourage others. And then, 'di ba? Lahat tayo angat. Oo.
Share to your story, coach, kasi tama yan. Yung, my wife also did TBR, and then her last TBR was the one in Clark.
Okay. Oh,
Yung
yeah.
kasi 'di ba pumatok yung noon na almost, I think it was 2020 na hindi natuloy, 'di ba?
Oo.
As it was in Clark. Tapos we had also a friend na basically hindi siya nakapag-training for the 42. Her longest was about 15 kilometers.
Okay.
So, ang sama talaga ng experience na for the run. So, medyo we thought na talagang it was the end for her. Pero, bumalik naman. Pero kasi hindi din to into coaching. Kumbaga, nabudol lang ng mga friends. So, sige, run tayo ng ganito.
Yeah.
Walang proper structure.
Yeah.
Sumasama lang sa mga long runs or sa mga short runs. Actually, most of the short runs pala. So, natuloy naman siya mag-run. Pero grabe, coach, yung the last 10 kilometers,
Yeah.
iba na yung mukha niya. So talagang naglalakad na lang siya. But anyways, fast forward to today, buti nakabalik tong friend namin. And she's doing Berlin now.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So imagine.
This weekend. Is that this
Yes,
weekend?
this
Yeah,
weekend.
Yeah.
Imagine, no? Parang, I mean, we thought that, sabi ko, siguro hindi ito magra-run. Pero buti na lang. May mga ganong stories din kasi, na hindi na proper na guide or siguro got information differently or siguro got information from a different person tapos got the wrong information without a coach. Diba? Yun ang mahirap din eh.
I actually get a question a lot na. Parang, coach, gantong ilang weeks na lang or ganito. Can I do this race?
Okay.
Diba? Parang, so I tell people I have two opinions.
Okay.
I have a professional opinion and I have a personal opinion. Okay. So I'll tell you, my professional opinion is you haven't set the proper training blocks to prepare and get the best outcome for this race.
Okay.
That's the standard, diba? Na, okay, na, ito yung kailangan mong gawin. Ito yung mo, ito yung ginawa mo, ito yung gusto mo. Diba? My personal opinion though, and this is based on experience, is I've learned never to underestimate the human spirit. Diba? Parang, how bad do you want it ba? Diba? So, nandun there's a mix eh. Kasi there are some people na, I know people, I know one who did the Maricaban Strait. Parang first time pa niya mag-open water doon.
What?
Oh, I mean, you can ask Coach Betsy. Parang, pati siya na, and it's like, I told him na, okay, you're doing this race. You've come to me and this is like in just a few more weeks. Diba? So
It's
I
first
said,
time niya dun, ha?
I told him, but typically, I won't take you on as a client. Baka masira pa ako. Di mo matapos yun. Oh my God. Di ba? Parang gusto mo lang mag-sign up. You have no experience.
Yeah.
But since he's a friend of a friend, I said, whether I'm here or not, I'm love ko gagawin mo to. We might as well try to see what we can do. And he was able to do it.
Wow.
Diba? So parang isipin mo, balik ka man straight.
Oo.
Lacrosse
Hindi
mo.
yun,
On a whim.
pang-beginner.
It's not a pang-beginner. It's like, diba? So, again, I said there's a professional opinion and there's a personal opinion. And you can never really know how bad a person wants something.
Yeah.
Diba? And what they're willing to, diba, to give up. They give up yung pag-gimmick nila. Yung, diba? Like I said, I had the rule, kung lalabas ka, huwag kang magpupuyat. Diba?
Okay.
Pero kung magpupuyat ka, huwag kang mag-iinom. Pag mag-iinom ka, huwag kang magpuyat. So, umuwi ka na maaga. So, choose your balance lang, di ba?
Yeah.
Kasi it will affect your training block. But again, ang hirap naman na, like, for some, that's their social life. They want to see their friends or that's part of their work. You're a DJ or like a celebrity or something or like that. And you have to go out kasi parang ano yan, di ba? Clients mo din yung ka-meeting mo, kalabas mo. So, balance mo. Kasi kung puyat ka ng husto dyan,
Siyempre.
diba? Alam mo naman yung feeling nun, the next day ang hirap kumuha ng maayos na training block. So dagdagan mo pa ng alak yun, di parang wala na mangyayari. So,
Stricto ka ba, coach?
manage expectations.
Stricto ka na, coach? Talaga, namumukpok ka ba ng, kailangan mong
Depends
gawin
on the
to?
individual. Depends.
Or nagre-reverse psychology ka rin ba?
Depends talaga.
So,
Kasi you have...
Iba-iba.
Yeah, some people respond to the carrot.
Correct.
Some people respond to the stick. Diba? So I had to put my foot down saying that, you came to me because you wanted, there's accountability. Diba?
Ako, coach, I respond to the steak.
Kuko tayo tubo. Sabi ko, 400 meters.
Tenderloin.
Oh yeah, favorite ko yun. Willing to run.
Yun yung carrot yung tenderloin steak.
Parang yung after Tokyo, my clients treated me to this really, really nice restaurant. And natatawa ako kasi, sabi ko, kaka-cross ko lang ng finish line. And then they're like 2 kilometers away pa. Papalakarin mo ako ng layo-layo just to... Like, may coffee shop naman dito. Ba't dito lang tayo mag-meet? Putya, pagpunta ko dun, wagyu. Tapos, puro steak. Parang, pwede na ako mag-marathon. So again, you have to understand where the motivation comes from. And then use that. You can harness that. Some people will do it for themselves. Some people have I want to encourage others, so I'm doing it for them. Diba? And then they also respond to it. So, yeah, very, very individual.
Coach, your coaching style, if it boils down to 3 words, what would it be?
Okay.
Or your philosophy? In 3 words.
I'd say one is trust, balance, and then growth.
Trust, balance, and growth.
Yeah.
Nice.
So it starts out, again, like I said, that one resource we'll never be able to get is time. And when a person gives you their time, it's I trust you. I'm giving you something that I'll never get back. So you want to make the most of this, diba?
And you reciprocate also with your
diba?
time.
I give. That's why I told
And
you,
your
regardless
expertise.
if you're the CEO or diba? You're giving me your time. That's the most precious thing, diba? Whether yung professional fee ko parang allowance lang ng anak mo or pinag-ipunan mo, diba? Parang the fact that you're giving me your time is the most precious thing. So I always am grateful for that trust and I want to reciprocate that to them, diba? So what they give in, I make sure you're also giving that to them. Kasi hindi mo mababawi yung oras mo
Yeah.
Tapos yung balance naman is we have to, at the end of the day, parang I tell people, if you want to stay long in the sport and really enjoy it, diba, you have to know how to balance things that are outside of it. Whether it's work, whether it's family, diba? Relationships,
Correct.
diba? Kasi I saw nga there was a sign in one of the Ironmans, if you're still married, you're not training hard enough. Diba? Ako kung nakita mo
Oh, yeah,
yun.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Diba? If you're still,
Oo, tama.
so, yeah, there's, but,
If you're not divorced, ba,
diba,
di ba?
diba, parang hindi, but kasi like I tell, and that's one thing I tell a lot of my athletes if they're training for a longer race, to get the support of their loved ones and their family. And it can't just be like, oh, okay, do it. No, it has to be, we understand kung bakit hindi ka na mapakinabangan ng pag weekends kasi nag-long ride ka pala. Diba?
Yeah.
So, yung mga
Takes a
ganun
toll
ba?
talaga.
Yeah, it takes a village to be able to for you to be able to do those things, and then that understanding, diba? So yun, that's the other part, the balance. And the other part is the growth, diba? So why there should always be room for growth. But
Yeah.
I was always asked to. I mean, I've been asked in my career before, na medyo out of topic, but to be a judge for a lot of the photography contests, diba? Like have different camera clubs who would invite me and do that, and I tell them I never give a perfect score because I feel there's always something that you can work on and improve. Diba? And there's that saying on sometimes growth lies beyond your comfort zone. And for a lot of the athletes, especially those people who are afraid of getting into the water, diba? Parang that's why nga, I was saying that we have our swim workshops or swim open water swims. We have a little chat group called Alon, and I'd like to think this is where bravery is forged, diba? Kasi takot sila sa tubig and then pupunta ka sa dagat.
Yeah.
May isang estudyante nga ako kasi I made them do a swim relay. Na, so several teams, I know their paces. So alam ko at the end medyo neck to neck yan. Pero ang style yan, yung simula mo, halos neck to neck. Tapos the next one sobrang dihado.
Oh.
Diba? So parang laki nung gap.
Yung gap.
Tapos yung isa doon natatawa ako kasi when she was swimming, sabi niya, Coach, sa totoo lang takot na takot ako. Pero ayoko rin matalo. Diba? So it's that going out of that comfort zone and for you to be able to grow. Whether as an athlete, as an individual, as a coach, or in whatever profession, you should be able to always leave room for that. But never get yourself stuck in just this little ball. Diba? Parang,
Nice.
yeah, whether it's halaman or isda, sabihin nila, if you put that in a small pot, hanggang ganun na lang ilalaki ng halaman na yun. So I always want to make sure that there's that room for them
Growth
to
talaga.
grow.
Yeah.
And whether it's them moving to a different sport, diba? So ngayon, like you were mentioning kanina, yun, some people move to high rocks.
Dami na.
Some people, and daming pwedeng ano dyan. But it doesn't have to be a competition between one sport or the other. It can be something that's holistic.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, I grew up in the States. We played baseball.
Oh.
We played American football. And there's
Depending on the
different
season.
Yeah. Diba? And I loved it. I love being a pitcher. At the same time, I love playing safety and getting tackled and what have you. Diba? And nandun yung understanding. So what's important is that when we're in the sport, we make it sustainable and we make the environment very welcoming as well. Again, with the support. Kasi minsan,
Yeah.
diba, ba't ka ba nagtitraining? Kasi nakaka-FOMO eh. Namimiss mo yung kasama mo, yung mga mag-long rides. So that's a very integral part of it as well.
Yeah. Wow. Coach, your last thoughts or your advice to, or maybe thoughts, your coach, final, you want to say thank you to some of your athletes,
Oh,
your
yeah,
sponsors, for your family, relatives, or anyone, coach, na dito. Yan.
Well,
You're in the
yeah,
camera. Yes.
I'd like to thank actually the community. I mean, my athletes, I've learned
The
so
Alon
much.
Group. The Alon Group.
Dami yan. Yung sa Vermosa, they call themselves Alipores.
Ano?
Si Mamits yung
Ayun.
diba? Si Mamits yung may, diba? So, yan, may resident help desk din kami doon. May tagalunod kami kapag, kunyari, magpe-prepare ka for
Galing,
mass
eh.
starts and stuff like that, diba? So, yeah, I'd like to say thank you to all you guys because nakakatawa. Parang you were telling me, like I remember you were asking a question before na parang if you can see yourself when you for the first time as a coach, what, diba, parang if you can go back in time and
Yeah.
see yourself as a coach for the first time, what would you tell yourself? Diba? Parang ganun
Your younger
that was
self.
something, yeah, you're
Oh
younger
yeah.
as no. And parang I wouldn't want to spoil the surprise. Alam mo yun? Because it's been such a great journey. I've been able to meet so many great people, and I'm so thankful for the support, the trust, diba? And the lessons. I've learned, even though if I'm the one teaching, I've actually learned more than what I've been. It's the other way around. I've learned so much more from you guys, in so many different ways. Like one, resilience. I have athletes who doctor says they'll never be able to do this again, and then we prove them wrong. Diba? So whether it's a heartbreak, whether it's a loss of family, last year I lost my father, and nakaka-touch to see the community be there. And then I had a client na he's been with me for every, like, I think 7 years now, and I didn't expect him to show up. He's a very busy guy, and he comes up and says, "It's a Thursday. We're always together on a Thursday." Diba? So he came to the wake and what have you, and I've learned so much from them, and I'm really so grateful. And that's why if I could go back in time and tell myself something, I wouldn't want to ruin the surprise. It's like watching a movie and knowing the ending na, or yung Sixth Sense, diba? Masisira yung approach. Because it's been such a wonderful journey. We have a lot of races coming up. I have several doing Berlin. Good friends,
Ooh.
diba? Sila Tring, diba? Good luck, guys. Kaya niyan. Si Mamits is doing
Kona.
Kona, diba?
Oh my goodness.
For the third time.
Grabe, no?
So I look forward to that video call, and she shows me the water there, and it's because of you guys that I get to leave. I get to live some of my dreams. Diba? I mean, I don't think I'll ever qualify for Kona or Boston, as a matter of fact, yet. I don't have the drive to make that as a driving force in my life at the moment. But being at least seeing you guys there racing, it's like I'm living my dreams through them. And then, ang sarap. And then they come back. We catch up. Just really, really so much to be grateful for. And yeah, the community, diba, so warm. So it's been a good 20 so years, 25, 27 years
20.
of
Wow.
diba?
Congrats for
Diba?
that, coach.
So yan,
Galing.
sana tuloy-tuloy pa yung
Yeah.
natin, 'di ba? I
Oo.
mean, we've have our highs and lows in terms of multisport, but especially ngayon, 'di ba, dami ng runners. So sana marami ma-convert. Marami tayong
Oh,
mabudol.
yeah.
So,
Oo nga.
yan, grateful for the organizers of the races. Kasi kung
Yeah.
wala sila, wala tayo. And there are so many really great organizers now.
Yeah.
Si Go Clark came up with
Oh, yeah.
the
Yung multisports series or something
no,
like that?
they have
Festival.
the first stride.
Ah.
First stride is a different kind of race. Kasi it allows you to race beside your coach.
Wow.
Oh, so kahit beginner ka, 'di ba? Kahit beginner ka, talagang may nakabantay sa'yo. Pero isa lang may timing chip.
Okay.
So what am I talking about here? It's the transition eh. Diba? It's a gradual transition. You have SBR, diba? Shout out to Sir Carlos.
Yeah.
Diba? You have people na walang, kahit ano pang bike gamitin mo. Diba? Walang judgment.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be...
Remember may folding bike?
Oh,
Folding bike ba yan?
Ang
Yung
dami,
babae
dami.
na nag-folding
Oo.
bike. Nice.
I think binigyan pa nga yata ng bagong bike
yeah.
diba? But it's nice to see that it's for everyone. Diba? Because triathlon can actually, and multisport basically, can act as a good complement to the lives that we have. Sometimes it goes a little bit ahead and becomes the driving force. But for a lot of people like that, for those people who want to get into the community, you start out from running, diba? Kahit di ka marunong lumangoy, at least 500 meters lang yan. Or parang sa Fontana, pwede kang tumayo, di ba? Pag napagod ka. But you can just stand up there. But it gets you hooked. It lets you experience it. Kasi as much as, nakakatawa, if you talk to someone who's not into the background of multisport, ba't alam nila yung mga times ng mga tao? Ano ba yan? Diba? Parang, bakit pace ang pinag-uusapan nila? Or what's this feeling? Ano ba yung, ano na yan? And I tell them, we can explain to you guys how it may feel or what we're doing. but nothing changes. Nothing can explain the feeling of actually experiencing it yourself.
Correct.
Diba? Only when you cross that finish line will you feel, pucha, ito pala yan. Ang saya, diba?
Yeah.
Before that, it's all, ano ba itong pinasukan ko? Diba? Or, ano, ang hirap-hirap daw. Pagdating mo sa finish
Andito
line,
naman tayo.
ano ba yung next race? Diba?
Register ulit.
But once you have that, when you have that, it's something that no one can ever take away, diba? And so we're so grateful to have a community, and you have a lot of organizers that have been here through the years, always improving their craft.
Yeah.
Open water swimming now, ang ganda. What Coach Betsy has done, Coach, grabe. She has a new venue na rin. I believe Palawan.
Palawan. Yeah,
diba?
yeah, I saw that.
So imagine you get to explore the Philippines, beautiful beaches. Somebody did the recon for you already. Register ka na lang, 'di ba? So ang saya nun. And then you get to see that again. It's not a competition of one sport of another. It's about being able to have this really nice ecosystem of, supporting one
Support.
another, 'di ba?
Yeah.
Yung kaibigan mo, malakas na cyclist, hindi naman marunong tumakbo, runner ka, tulungan mo.
Yeah.
'Di ba? Yung budulin mo
Yeah.
mag-marathon, mag-half, 'di ba? Or yung for those who don't ride, I mean, that's what I love. I have like friends. Shout out to Nico Welgas.
Oh,
Diba?
okay, yeah.
He would,
Siyempre.
pag nag-ride kami sa Clark, diba? Pagod na ako, yan, sa likod lang yan. Ready na yan magtulak ko sa sakali. Oh, Coach, how are you? Di ba? I know. Di ba? I know. Gagana na lang ako. Di ba? So, it's that supportive community. And so, yeah, shout out to all of you guys. Sana, we get this, we continue this momentum so that other people can still enjoy what we're enjoying.
Yeah. And, I always wish na ganyan yung support crew, no? Into ano talaga, the bigger community, not just in multisport, but also running. And, siguro, it's time to not pull other people's down.
Oh,
Diba?
yeah,
Kumbaga,
yeah,
you
no.
have to pull them up
Of
and,
course.
support them na para I mean, you really have to help them move forward.
And like our group in Vermosa, yung the Alipores there, they are members of different teams. Diba? How many teams do we have there? We have people from Century Thai, from
Yeah.
the Usuals, from Team Mega Wide. Ang dami, iba-iba silang teams. And then, syempre, hindi mo maiwasan that sometimes when you're in competition, there's that bit of rivalry or what have you. And some of them, magkaka-age group pa doon.
Correct. Yeah, yeah. Siyempre medyo nagsusukatan.
But in our group, no. Diba? Nagtutulungan sila. Diba? Kasi they all know, it's, again, let's go to the fundamentals of triathlon. What I do and my performance is not affected by how good you are eh. Ako naman yun eh. Hindi naman
Yeah.
ikaw. But if I can help you improve, then why not?
Yeah.
Diba? Wala naman mawala sa akin kung mag-improve ka. Diba? And ikaw rin, if matulungan mo ako, then good.
Yeah.
And we all improve. It'll be so nice to, diba,
Yeah.
to have that encouragement na, like kagaya nun, meron kaming rule dati sa team na kung mag-relay ka, you're not allowed to do your strength.
Okay.
Diba?
Okay, that makes sense.
Oh,
Okay,
diba?
tama.
Parang yung iniiwasan mo, yun ang
Oo.
gagawin mo.
Yeah.
So that's a good way of encouraging people, 'di ba? Kasi ayaw mo ngang mag-run, pero alam mong ikaw yung mag-a-anchor kasi yung malakas yung swimmer, malakas yung biker mo. So medyo
Yeah.
mapapatulak ka, may encourage ka.
True.
'Di ba? So hopefully, yeah, we encourage that. Especially, and syempre as the communities get bigger, a lot can be lost in translation. And that's what I was telling Coach Annie na what I really miss about the old days is when you travel to a venue. Ako, may good vibes ako sa roof rack ng bike. Diba?
yeah.
Kasi
Oo.
isipin mo you're in the middle of nowhere. Makita ko may roof rack dyan, may bike dyan. Alam mo, dun din sila pupunta. So pagpunta mo dun, it's like a big family picnic. Diba? Oh, kamusta ka na? Kasi kayo lang din yun eh. So ngayon, you have what? Registrants of literally thousands of people in some of the races. Diba? Sometimes it's parang nandun yung hindi mo nakilala yung mga tao or what have you, but understand that what they do won't really affect you. But focus on yourself, try to improve. If you
Goosebumps.
can help other people, why not? Diba?
Yeah.
Kasi, diba, hindi diba, yung iba may, wag na lang. Diba? So,
Yeah.
yeah, if
Yeah.
we can
Yeah.
focus on that and be
Mm.
able to help other people out in the
Yeah.
process, then the community will keep on growing. So I said, like, before ang hirap maghanap ng gamit. Yes, for bike stuff, you have to go to Cartimar. Medyo susuhulin mo si Beng. Beng, pwede ba? Favor naman. Gusto ko ng tri-suit.
Oo.
Pag nag-abroad ka, uwi ka naman.
Yeah.
Ang
Yeah.
uwi yan ng mga 10 piraso. Tapos
Mag-uwi ka ng
unahan.
Desoto.
Desoto!
Di ba? Di ba?
Desoto at
Oo.
saka Zoot. Di ba?
Yeah.
Yan yung
Yeah.
mga ano yan. So,
Oo.
di ba
Mahal.
di ba?
Oo.
Di ba? Social na social ka na.
Oo.
Naka-tri-suit
Italian.
ako. Hindi
Oo.
ako t-shirt and trunks. Di ba? But see how the community has evolved so much. How, yun nga, now you have choices of bikes. Diba? I remember when one of the coaches of Tri Soto came here and we had a tri camp in Subic. He said, I've never seen so many super bikes in a tri camp. Diba? And sabi niya, these are race wheels. Diba? Why are you using race wheels on a training camp?
Training.
Diba? But kasi ganun tayo ka-spoiled dito na in terms of equipment. Diba? We have so much access to world-class equipment. Diba? I remember when I went to Budapest. So I raced. I was racing in Budapest, and they have the parang all-world athlete and what have you, and then they had a VIP tent there. Diba? So I was going there, and they were telling me to come in. I said, no, I'm not but they saw my bike. So they said, no, we take care of our own. I'm like, what? So they put up my bike there. They link it up a computer. They say, oh, the rear derailleur is outdated. We have to upgrade the firmware. And then they'll ask me, how do you want it to respond? Do you want it to faster shifting but more drain on the
Really?
battery? Diba? So
Ganun
parang,
sila ka, ha?
diba? So,
Helpful.
but, imagine having that kind of equipment locally. Dati pangarap lang yun eh. Again,
Yeah.
going back to Beng, di ba? Parang ting may magbubuo ng bike doon, lahat kami nanonood sa labas. Ano bang binubuo yan? Oh, yung kay Lance Armstrong, yung Trek, di ba? Parang, siya lang yung may ganun dito. Now, you can go to almost any little nook and cranny here and find out, may magandang bike dito. Diba? So, and it didn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
It took so many decades for us to have that. So yeah, kudos to the organizers, to the people, to the bike shop owners who are making the investment. It's not an easy business, But you can literally lose millions in a snap if you don't know. So support your local bike shops.
Oo.
Diba? Ano natin, diba? And
Yeah.
I tell them sometimes it's not so much about what has the better price, it's how you're taken care of. Diba? And we want to support our friends there also.
Yeah.
So, yun, sana tuloy-tuloy yung ganung community natin. Diba?
Yeah. Yeah. And the mindset, no? Dapat,
Oo.
ganun. Collaboration, help one another, and siguro, be a support to someone, so that you make him or her better. No, yun naman talaga yung goal natin. Even your athletic life or in your personal life.
Amen
Wow.
to that.
Oh, Coach Al,
Yeah.
what a very good and uplifting conversation today. Thank you so much for doing this. Alam mo, sobrang what a privilege to have you on the podcast.
Thank you for coming up with this podcast because, like as I mentioned, there is a responsibility for us to be able to reach out to other people and for them to, like I said before, we're trying to sort out the information. That is finding the information. So it's
Yeah.
nice that, you get people to share their experiences so that others won't have to make the same mistakes. Diba? And kasi some people, baka nabudol sila, di nila nag-enjoy. Tapos sabihin, running's not for me or triathlon's not for me. Pala, kulang lang pala ng konting preparation.
Yeah.
Diba? So kung, dahil sa mga podcast ng kagaya nito, I know for you it's a very passionate thing as well about taking your time and setting this up. But that's, we're very grateful for you to have this for the community also. Para they can, diba, follow, subscribe, because what you will learn in just a few minutes in terms of the podcast took literally years for your
Mm.
coaches to develop, for your guests to, ano, di ba,
Yeah,
yung mga guests mo na grabe yung training programs nila or their accomplishments,
exactly.
it took them years to do that. And now you have access to that in just a few minutes of your time.
Yeah.
Diba? So
Uh-uh.
thankful, grateful for you having us on the show. Thank you
Thank you,
so
sir.
much. Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Coach. Nako, very well said, Coach. And I hope we can bring you back.
Oh,
Maybe
yeah.
probably some of your students. Medyo kwelang ano
Oh,
naman.
pwede, pwede.
Sige,
Yeah, yeah.
hopefully, very well soon. Yeah, all
Okay.
right. All right. Thank you, Coach Al. So, guys, follow Coach Al, on his socials. You're on
Oh,
Instagram.
yeah.
Uh-uh.
Instagram is Al Gonzales 96.
All right.
Yeah, if you have any questions related to the show or for swimming or what have you, just send me a message. More than happy to help out. Diba?
Yeah.
Or you'll see us in Vermosa
Your
madalas.
schedules. Yeah,
Yeah,
sige.
we're in Vermosa.
Vermosa and also in Ace Waters pa,
Ace
diba?
Waters pa yung parang my group sessions. Others are like private classes in other venues like Rockwell and what have you. But if you see us in Vermosa, don't
Oo.
be a stranger. We won't bite, diba?
Yeah.
We might pull your leg a little bit or medyo squeeze you in the lane kung getting you prepared for a race, no? But it's nice because the community there is wonderful.
Yeah.
Diba? Regardless kung kaninong lane ka doon, diba?
Yeah.
Mandun yung mga athletes, si Coach Annie, nandun din, diba? So it's a good community and yeah, don't be a stranger. Just come up, say hello.
Yeah. Yeah. Whew. Ganda ng episode. Thank you, Coach Al. One of the good guys, no, Al Gonzales. Follow him and probably he'll hook up you a free trial or one or two, diba? So, yeah. Thank you so much, guys, again for tuning into another episode of Shock the System podcast. Follow us on YouTube, Spotify. We also on Facebook and also on Instagram. So if you like this, small gesture, click that thumbs up button and also that bell button so that you'll be advised of new episodes coming in your way for whenever you listen to on video and also on Spotify. So hopefully we'll bring more people,
Yeah, yeah.
experts like Coach Al
Yeah, so
Gonzalez here.
don't
Yeah.
forget to share, diba?
Yan,
Share the podcast because it's a
Thank you.
good way for other people to learn from the people that they get on the show, diba? And it's parang your duty also to be able to make sure that other people are find that fastest way, diba? Hindi man fastest way, but to cut off
The
a lot
best
of
way.
the
Yeah,
cut off
yeah.
the excess trimming, diba?
Yeah.
And make sure that they're guided properly.
Galing.
Diba? So yan, daming gagaling na guests that you've had on in the past, diba? Idol ko si Coach Annie, diba?
Oo
Nandun. So,
naman.
dami mong, diba? There's so much that, and it's, all it takes is for you to share it. So,
Yeah.
okay.
Coach, maraming salamat again. Guys, thank you so much for listening. If you've made it through the end of this video, thank you so much. We'll see you soon in the next episode. Bye. Shock the system.
Thank you, sir.
sir.